Welcome back, YouTube. It's story time. Every day there's a story at Meineke Cinnaminson. I just don't understand people whatsoever. We must be in the Bermuda Triangle if you put our coordinates in, and it attracts all the people who are self-entitled, don't give a shit, demanding, so on and so forth. So here's the story. Caleb and I are only technicians working today, and we have a few cars in here and we're working. So we watch a lady pull in the wrong side of our parking lot and stop in the middle there, and then get out of her car and then go in the trunk and fumble around for a little while. So after like 5 or 10 minutes, I see her still fumbling around in her car. I'm like, what's going on? We had a similar situation like this a few months back. And the people pulled in the wrong way, parked up there. So this is a regular occurrence at Meineke Cinnaminson. Pulled in the wrong way, parked right by that cone, and started working on their car. 2 people, one person got out, opened the hood, started working on their car in the middle of the parking lot. They didn't come in and ask for help. So I shouldn't have to come out of my shop and stop what I'm doing to ask them what they're doing or do they need help. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is, it starts when you walk through that door and ask your service provider for help. So those people's intentions were they don't give a shit. They're going to trespass and work on their own car and then hopefully get hurt and then sue me. That's probably what they were planning on doing. So this woman is in the wrong way, nose facing that way, in the hatch of her car, dicking around. So Caleb's grabbing another car, which was this van, and she stops him, says, hey, can you help me change my tire, and so on and so forth, and blah, 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 blah. And Caleb's like, you have to go inside and talk to the counter person if you need anything done. She said, well, you just can't help me out? Caleb's like, no, you have to go inside, tell them what you want, and then they will tell me what to do to your car because they pay me. So then he moves this car, he grabs another car, and he brings the car around, and she's, chases him out of the shop. Aren't you going to help me? Aren't you going to help me? He goes, I told you to go inside and check in with the service writer and find out what we can do for you. Well, she was on the phone. He goes, you're going to have to wait for her to get off the phone then. Makes sense, right? So this is like 10 minutes. I'm watching all this go down. So then she comes back in, talks to Rachel, and she's like, I just want my spare tire put on, blah, 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 blah. How long is it going to be? Blah, blah, blah. And Rachel's like, I really don't know how long it's going to be. Everyone's busy. But we'll get you signed in. You really need to buy a new tire, and we sell tires. No, I don't want that. I just want someone to put my tire on. Well, and Rachel's like, it's $25 to put your tire on. And she's bitching, no good deed goes unturned, this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. Why can't you just do this? Why can't you do that? So then she walks out. If she actually would have just went into this office and talked to Rachel originally, we would have told her what it cost to put your spare tire on and had you on your effing way, so you weren't be bothering anyone else. But you wanted to try and get someone to do something for free and not go through the chain of command, which is go into the office. Just like when you go into the bank. You don't stand at the door and yell at the tellers, hey, can you give me money for free? No. So she's bitching and mumbling. I watch her mouth. She says she's out at her car, back behind the car again, and she comes out with her tire iron, and the car's not even jacked up, and she's trying to kick the wrench and loosen her nug nuts. And I said, all right, I've had enough of this fucking bullshit. I walk out to the car. I'm like, excuse me, miss. You can't work on your car in our parking lot. She's like, no good deed goes unturned. I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, you can't just put my spare tire on for me? Yes, for $25, we could put your spare tire on for you, but we can't do it in the middle of the parking lot. She's like, well, you can't just do a good deed? I said, when you go to the gas station and put gas in your car, do they say it's free because it's a good deed? No. You can't do it. We don't work for free, and you shouldn't expect us to work for free. I don't know where people get off with this shit. If you actually wanted help when you pulled into the parking lot, you could have went into the office and talked to the service writer and found out what your options were based on your request. Make sense? Instead of torturing the entire world, dicking around, and then at the end of the conversation, I said, you can't work on your car on the street. It's a safety issue. If you want your car worked on, you need to go inside and sign in, and we'll be happy to put your tire on. This is like 20 minutes over this crap now. So then Rachel's up front talking to her. She picks up the phone. She's calling AAA, and she's blah, 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 blah on AAA about why can't no one do anything for her. And I was like, really? She's like, well, I just called AAA. They're on their way. I'm like, you could have been on your way already if you would have paid us to put your spare tire on. I said, and now you can't have AAA put your spare tire on in my parking lot, lady. So now park your car in the street. And if you would have just okayed this prior to this, you would have been on your way instead of dicking around. What gives you the right to torture somebody or aggravate them or disrupt their business and then expect not to pay for anything? And don't act like it's my fault, because I'm not going to run out there and find out what you're doing until I understand what the problem is. People pull in all the time and look for things or get on the phone and talk. I'm okay with that. But I'm past you working on your car in my lot. You have no right to do that. You're not entitled to anything when you step onto someone's private property. You're not entitled to anything. Private property. State property is a different story.